Hi, I'm Rick Dior, and welcome to part 3 of my hand drum coordination series. We're sticking with congas today. In the future, we'll do some other different hand drums, but figured while I'd have these out this week doing some recording, I'll make this series. So we've already done the ostinatos in parts 1 and 2. I would definitely check that out first, because what we're going to do now is a little more complicated with the reading aspect, the interpretation aspect of all this. So if you turn to page 7 in my book, and I'll put some of that on the screen here, what we're going to do is we're going to interpret these rhythms with different sounds on the congas. And there's several steps that go into this along the way. But just so you know, there are no rules. Pretty much you're going to read these rhythms over a 16th note bass, and you're going to play different sounds. So we'll have our open sounds. We'll have our slaps, both closed and open. And then we'll have our heel, toe filling in. So, all right, so the first bar could sound like this if we just alternated. So the rhythm is 1 and 2E, 3E and a 4E and a 1 and 2E, 3E and a 4E and a. I would definitely suggest doing each bar over and over again and try to do different variations. So let me give you an example of that. We'll put the metronome slow on 16ths, okay? We'll slow it way down to 80. So here's our 16th. So hopefully you're hearing that, how I'm accenting the rhythms that are written, and the underlayment are these 16th notes. We played like that, can be played like this. With heel toe, you want to mix it up. It's a tricky concept. It's difficult to teach. It's best shown, and you get the idea. So if we did the second bar, which is 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and 4. We get this. So hopefully you see all those different variations, and I'm making those up. Those aren't written. So there's a couple benefits to this. The first one is if you get a chart, most of the gigs I do, almost all of them, I'd say 98%, are with music, because professional musicians don't have a lot of time to rehearse because we're all busy. So everybody gets together and we get the charts and we play them and we interpret them. If we're playing, you know, a jazz gig or a theater gig or an orchestra gig, rarely are conga parts ever written out note for note. It'll give you a basic rhythm, some slashes, maybe style, you know, whatever style you're going to play, and then you go, and it's got to sound authentic. So this really helps with that, catching figures, interpreting those. So if we do the first 2 bars over and over, it sounds like this. 3, 4. You see those triplets? Those work great when you have a 16th note rest and a 16th note. So 1 E, 2 E. And the way I'm doing that, I'm just doing heel, toe, quick. So And I went over this in my original conga series on this channel 5-6 years ago, where you just do this rhythm. And you get that down first, the heel toe. So go back and watch those original videos. There's 4 of those instructional videos, okay? So now if you go faster, it becomes more complex. So I'll play the whole first line for you quick now. We'll do it, let's say, at 100. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I'm playing the rhythms, but now I'm soloing a little over there. I'm adding some notes, but in my head I'm thinking those are horn hits, you know, bop, 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 bop. So if you played a solo, a drum solo, a conga solo, over that, that's what you'd get. So that's the idea. Now you can also use flams like this. Right, so intentionally trying to play flams, and that's a very kind of language thing, that open flam. Between the two drums. It's a djembe thing too. So any kind of hand drum, African drum, Cuban drum, those sound great, those things. So again, you tailor the exercise to this. All right, let's try line 2 now. We'll go slow again, go at 80, and we'll play it a couple different ways. So I'll play the whole line and I'll repeat it just like I did that last line. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, and now faster at 100. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's tricky. It's like setting up big band figures on the drum set. That's the creativity of it. So it's not written out. You're not going to do it the same way every time. The idea is to do it differently. All right. So hopefully you understand that. Now, if you go to the next page, it gets much more involved because now you got 2 notes. All right. So if we do page 8, it sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you play through as many of these as possible. Again, all the books we talked about in the first video, the Gary Chester Newbreed books, the Louis Bellson rhythm books, all those, as many of these kinds of things, and then you just improvise. So let's try it really fast now, and that's a challenge. So like 120. And we'll play a little time before we go into it. 1, 2, 3, 4. So hopefully you see all these little fills, all the I'm doing, all the opens, all the different maneuvering around. And this is sort of the culmination of what we've done with the first two parts of this series where I'm doing these ostinatos. And what that gives you is the facility to move around because your hand's not frozen into being an accompanying hand. You're actually ambidextrous, and that is coordination, right? We want to use both our hands, and they're coordinated. They're not relying on each other. So you're not locked into a particular groove. You're free to roam. Let your mind do the work. So hopefully this helps, and this will be the last part of the conga section of this, and in the future we'll get to some different things. I'll do some bongo stuff. I have a lot of different hand drums that we'll talk about, but this is sort of the start of it on these drums. If you have some practice congas or just regular ones, this is where you want to start with this. A lot of this hand technique works on a lot of different hand drums. Okay, not all of them, but a lot. So this is where you want to begin on these drums. So thanks, and we'll see you soon.